I just had this weird moment of feeling like such a douche for being on technology in general and just feeling it all just insane, really. Whilst I get this very visceral sense of like, what is life and what is humanity actually doing right now? And are we possibly just totally distracted and like going insane? Is that actually happening? Because sometimes I sort of just feel these random feelings and I'm like, what's going on? Does anyone else feel this way? Hey, Rebby Race, how are you? How are you, sweet thing? So the reason I was like laughing at myself was like fuffing with my phone and like just feeling very I want to say this is so weird, but feeling very human, but like in the just hilariously kind of return, and excuse using this word. I don't usually use this word, but like just retarded, I want to say. But then I'm like, but then it's a fair word, as in when you just think of the word and what it means in like a form of retardation. It's like humanity is exhibiting all of its slow spots, all of its areas where it's slow, not working out great for itself. I was having a really interesting conversation with a friend yesterday about oil and like his sort of intuitive sense of what is oil, and him feeling it to be like the blood of the earth, and how you know um that I guess you could say sort of, yeah, raping the earth for her blood is not good. And also, you think about how powerful Earth is as a being versus our being as a human. Earth is really powerful. So we're wanting to like either rise ourselves up to be that power with her in again, I talk about this expression like the new earth guy Sasha, the biofeedback resonance field. This is about us aligning with nature and not in some like sitting, not in a primitive like we're going to go back to being cavemen and women. um no, it's like next level community living, natural living, seasonal living, eating good amazing great food that's actually food. Not chemicals and not god knows what is being put in food and injected into um the animals that people eat. So I let me try to stay to task today because it's not always the easiest thing for me to do. I shall today want to talk about consumption and creativity. I had a great insight about the creativity and the consumption being part of the polarity of our own personal distortion here on earth. Now, if you think about just the simplicity of people being like, you create your own reality and like God and source and these sort of expressions, and what it's really simply kind of pointing to is that we are creative beings. We like being creative. We like expressing things. We like doing things. We like making things. And it's part of our divine blueprint. It's part of our just divinity, expressing, being creative. And truth is like every single human has a creative spark. They have a thing that really suits them. And that thing can transform and change over the course of their lifetime. So, well, I was doing a little review yesterday and realizing that like acting and performance was a fairly dominant focus in my life from the age of, say, maybe 13 to like, or maybe even younger, like 10. until my mid-20s. Until mid-20s, it was like, I'm over it. I really can't, like, yeah, it weren't, I knew this industry weren't for me, and I just didn't care, and I was like, I don't care about acting, and I think you should care about acting if you're pursuing it as a career. Um, enter yoga, enter yoga. So, oh, well, and that's what I was saying, was that these life cycles. So, like, for chunks of time, we're sort of doing this and enjoying this and having this as an ambition, and then we go through changes, and then we look at other things and create, or have a desire for other creative expressions, like moving our bodies around and dancing, or, and then the next phase might be that we're talking a lot about certain things and certain subjects. So, and what I'm getting here, just like a seed has the blueprint of the flower, or the tree. Similarly, our seed already has all the potential in it from the moment of birth or conception, even. So it's already written and everybody has it. Right. So, like, I paint with my body. Oh my God, that sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, and like, and this is the thing, once we start to turn things around, we get inspired by that creative stuff. Right. So it's like, and I'm sure this was like part of it, was realizing, because I told you guys I went like, it's not a skateboard but a longboard. So I think maybe they're a little bit easier because it was like manageable. But there off I go, like trying a new thing and just having fun and being like, oh yeah, like, and then I thought about getting a ukulele and like learning how to play the ukulele so that I could at least play one token song around a campfire sometime, and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like getting that, and then there again, like, we jest about, or be very spiritually serious about being gods and goddesses. And if you think of gods and goddesses, even in our just like mental conception of it, this is a creative force, no? Well, actually, I mean, they gotta say it's creation and destruction. There's always polarity, but gods are creators and destroyers, right? We're not stagnators. Um, and and we're not slaves, and we're certainly not powerful. Like, um, and this is where we're noodling out things in our human condition, behavior in our human condition, which in the long term, just like things like fracking in the oil industry, are not serving humanity. Our creative elixir is being stifled by the enslavement system. And so hence the title share. To me, in the distorted world, or the effect of a distorted worldview, is just the controller energy, the controller manipulator energy, and then a whole bunch of innocent humans that are actually God creators, but they become consumers, i.e., the Wall-E movie. And this is part and parcel of like targeting the innocent mind of the youth, or the little ones, is like, if you get them when they're young, you know. And I could get emotion because it's pretty sad, you know, that there's chunks of humanity kind of just being pulled into that reality. um and there again, I just think, actually, you know, to each their own. There's no such thing as victimhood and truth, and all of it is a representation of an existence, an essence, a dimension, polarity, spectrum. It's all just that. And I guess there's a greater sense, for me, of divine guidance, of being supported. Hey Emily, how are you? Um, and at the same time, within that support that we might be feeling, there's a continuation. Like, oh, really? Things are continuing? Yeah, imagine that. Um, I guess it's really just the same things for us to really break free and live our dreams. We do have to endeavor, um, that piece, that authenticity piece, that self knowledge, that self awareness, more like, um, and it's that self awareness I feel that really does help us to um, shine for people in authenticity, because in essence authenticity is quite unconditional, pardon me, and neutral. Unconditional awareness and or love, and really potent authenticity, healing. Hi Emily, sending big love. Yeah, potent authenticity is, one, unapologetic, but also two, like, so depending on where we're coming from, I guess you could say, authenticity. So depending on what side of the ego you're coming from, i.e., the inferiority or the superiority stuff, somebody who's really authentic would either be incredibly intimidating to somebody who is having really low self-esteem and or insecurity issues or da da da. So those authentic people, you're like less than, they're way cooler, or they have their shit together, or blah 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 blah, blah, even though you don't know people. But like when you're feeling less than, you feel like authenticity is something that is unavailable to you or only for those special people. Oh, big love, Emily. Oh, tell me about it. This week has just been supercharged. Like, what, and really just coming out. It's all coming out. Yeah, this week has been it for me as well. Yeah. Um. So let me get back to it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think about, like, okay, yeah, creativity and consumption. And I look at it as a real vacuum. I could say this as a, like, as a vacuum of, oh yeah, authenticity, inferiority, superiority. And so, and its superiority complex when it comes to authenticity would then gossip, tear down, right? Superiority would belittle, patronize, all that kind of stuff. So we can feel edges of the culture that target certain individuals as examples for their agenda, which of course is going to be divisive on some level. Remember, though, that divisive agenda is, of course, an element and an aspect of our own inner conflict as a human species as well. This is part of, like, deeper, deeper cosmic codes that we're connecting as a species, and it's also an aspect of our integrating and unifying the quantum leap as a real thing, because we're endeavoring it and living through it right now. There's all of us in different function having cognitive realization, but there's a little bit of confusion still. It's not anchored. It's still not anchored. So we have to continue to anchor it in. So there's a lot. I'm very aware right now that I'm quite scattered in this share, and I'm sure naturally it'll all somehow lead back into the consumption and creativity piece. But I'm hearing that there is a lot of energy that's building up, building up, building up into the eclipse season for this summer. Ultimately, any of us that have taken leaps in life, that have been living in tune with the heart, that have been feeling and processing our emotions, we have to really take into stock some of the seated intentions of these last few years, possibly our whole lives, and recognize that there's culmination points and karmic completions for us to be able to effectively step into our chosen reality or chosen timeline. And for a lot of us here, you could say it's one of the most high. So we're choosing to endeavor what feels like the reason we came to Earth. And then once we start to act out that embodiment, it will all begin to make a lot more sense. And the eclipses are then, again, just in a very basic sense, like eclipsing out the old, and then the basically next month it's like the turnaround month, where this month feels to me, as in June, it feels like a buildup to the preparation for the turnaround month, and a lot of us can expect more sudden change. Um, it's unfortunate, but I'm hearing like also to expect sudden loss as well. Yes. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Well, that's brilliant because there's a little part of my mind that's being like, what are you even talking about? Delete, delete. But I appreciate that because sometimes I'm not sure exactly what I was saying, but I'm really happy when Robbie Rice is okay. We can feel you. Oh, hi, Stephen. How are you? I needed to hear that. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's like an elixir flow. It's an elixir flow, like in the heart space. It's like that divine spark, king, and then blah. And so you're just listening to that all the time. And the more you listen to that, the more you live from that. That to me, I guess, would be the living intuition, and increasingly for someone like me, the living imagination. Because I am consciously practicing it as a practice. Um, and there's not much. So, how to describe it? It's like reality, physical reality is much more dreamlike. And imagination is more real, more tangible, more um there's just a blending of states of being that I've never experienced before, because obviously most of us are super programmed to deny everything else and just focus on this 3D reality, matrix construct, patriarchy, whatever the system. We're meant to abide. We're meant to be good little worker bees. We're meant to whatever, and that's the whole point of this share. I'm like, no, 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 no. We're not like little slave worker bees. We're we're creators. We and here's the thing. Yeah, in that sense, we are little creative worker bees. We all like to be like, like we do stuff. We make stuff. And that is a beautiful thing. And we can make stuff that we get to consume. But with all the machines making everything, there's a disconnect. And with GMOs, there's a disconnect because we manipulated the shit out of it. We fucked it. Plus, the machines are making things that are driving wealth and economic resource for only a few people. And like after a while, like the worker bees are just like, what the fuck? Like, what are we working for? Like, this is fucking ball sacks, which it is. Like, it's total fucking arse wipes. Like, but it is. Like, it's fucking arse wipes that we live in this world that literally has people that have their arses wiped, and mostly everybody else just has to wipe their own ass. And I'm like, here's the thing, guys. Honestly, I just think everybody should have to fucking wipe their own arse. That way we could all be like, okay, so I'm trying to bring this to like cleaning water and clean water, and I don't know, maybe okay, here's the point. It's like the people presently who maybe are not wiping their own arses, they don't realize how fucking shitty and messy they are, and like thus they're not fucking responsible creators. They can't see. They can't see the smelly they can't see the smelly destruction of their ways. And so the person, whoever is cleaning up that person's shit, needs to stop. And I kid you not, your life will be so much better once you stop cleaning up people's shit for them. And there might be a bit of a mess for a bit because they'll be like, ah, you're not cleaning up my shit. What are you doing? And you'll be like, oh, because I'm pretty sure you can clean up your own shit, and like, and then you can just worry about yours. Pardon my crude exploration and explanation of elitist classism, but it's kind of true. I would say there is some actual sense to this. Um, Hence, like, authenticity. Hence, why the people who's getting their bums wiped don't want you to be authentic, because then you'll sniff out that bullshit, right? And realize that, oh, I'm more, as in, and here's the thing, once you stop wiping people's arses for them, like, they're more than capable. This is the interesting thing about my brief little or whole life-long patterning of attracting narcissistic energy is like, they're really good at sorting their own arses out. Just watch. Just, you can, if you're just getting, if you feel like somebody's twisting your arm to keep to keep it there, just stop and watch and recognize whether or not, look, they can, they can. When you stop, they are capable of various things that they pretended like they weren't capable of, or that you were absolutely ridiculous for even imagining they're capable of doing it for themselves. And then when they do it, and or someone else does it, you're like, oh, see, you are capable, so I don't need to do that for you. I'm in a little bit of a tangent as far as, like, I'm feeling this incredible freedom, and I'm also reading No Shame in Your Game, baby. I'm like, I love you guys. How badars are we? And by the way, Crispy doesn't shit. Dude, are you sure? Because that might not be very good for your bowels. Yes, all create, big and small, all has a call to be one and all. It's true! I love it. I'm just reading further down. Oh, but I do actually. I'm very regular. Same. Hey, Robbie Rice. Like, share, sub. That's awesome. That's a good thing, like, for me to be reminded to remind people of, like, hey, y'all, if you're enjoying this chit chat session, Alto TV, y'all should like it, right? He's an alien who doesn't waste anything. JK. JK. Is that part of the Kanamana Chia movement? Um, and I'm not even sure what the non-wasting is referring to. Somehow I'm thinking about poo again. But oh my god. I'm like, I have risen this channel to the most high. I've literally at one time was talking about healing and love and divine grace and benevolence and all of this, and now I'm just talking about shit. Like, legit. And now you guys are just emoji loving shit everywhere. Oh my god, this is what happens. This is the end result of spiritual awakening, everybody. You're just pure laughing gobbledygook. And if you're not laughing gobbledygook, you're just big snot ball of tear mess. You guys should buy my book. Oh my god. Uh, oh look, Jedi J. We have a Jedi in the house. I got to say, you guys, I'm in a little bit of a urine therapy. Urine therapy. Tell me more about urine. Wait. See, look, how gullible am I? Wait a minute. Are you joking? Robbie Rice, are you taking the piss out of me? Oh, although, I mean, sidestep, but I'm like, there is actually, like, people drink urine in yogic tradition, Moflo lovers. Straight talk. Wait, do they drink it? Or wait, no, I'm getting another thought. No, it's not that they drink it necessarily. So there's something called I want to say jalanetti or neti pot, and you basically like lukewarm salt water is the typical description, and then you put it up your nostril cavity thing, and then it flushes the other side. It's actually really awesome if you ever get sinusy or if you're ever really congested. In yoga, some yogic tradition, they actually recommend you do it every day. I'm not that austere when it comes to the cleansing practices because I have a double edge about that. Here's my concept: is that the body is perpetual regeneration station. So why do we perpetually feel like we're having to detox it out? I'm like, yeah, but it cleans itself. Unless you're mega toxic, which in fairness, lots of us get that way. But unless, yeah, you're mega backed up and toxic, there's no reason to do constant fasting and cleansing and detoxing and cleansing and cleansing and purging and purging and cleansing the physical body. If anything, if you're always having to purge the physical body, get emotional, my friends, because clearing out the emotion, it basically makes your body a more functional body, as does moving well and eating natural food, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Oh, okay, and that's another thing, which I know this might be really gross to some of you, like really gross, but I've heard of this. People who bathe or wash with their own urine. Um, I've tried. I'm like, I don't think it's that gross. I'm like, so yeah. Thanks for the info. Love your urine. So people put it on their skin. It will make you look younger. Oh my god, we're becoming an alternative beauty channel for sure, which clearly excites me. um, Amazing. Put it on my face and then shower. Okay, so basically you can use your own pee pee for beauty product. Like straight. This is straight talk, you guys. And I know that there will be people in the world that are like, ew, disgusting. Just like there's people in the world when women bleed, they're like, ew, disgusting, that's disgusting. And you're like, I don't know, you just want to throw period blood on their face or something. I'm sorry. Like you would never do that, and that's disgustor, but it's not disgustor. And actually we came from that blood. So it's one of those things of like, fuck you, buddy. Like honestly, this is sacred blood, my friend. Don't dishonor it. Don't make me feel there, that's more the important. Don't make me feel ashamed for the fact that I bleed. Like us women is totally effing natural. And like if we didn't bleed, we wouldn't be making baby. So I'm like, it's the reactions and the subliminal messaging around how disgusting and shameful we are as women for bleeding that we want to look at, right? And then there again, I'm pretty sure like period blood probably has some like nutritional value to it. I wonder if a poo bath is good. No, Steve. No. We're not going there, my friend. Definitely. So today's share is about poo poo and pee pee with MJ at How to Love TV. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, what am I saying? Okay, I'm gonna start drinking my pee, and we'll keep you guys posted. Great. A good old cry heals the soul, guys. Jedi J, for straight talk right there. And now this is the channel we're gonna drink our piss, look incredibly radiant, and then other onlookers gonna be like, whoa, what are those people doing? We're like, we drink it. Oh my god, you guys. Whoever would have thunk it? Creativity and consumption. This makes perfect sense. We're talking about consumption. Thus, we're talking about poos and pee-pees. Fifth world. Grace us with your wisdom, fifth world. We're talking about shits and pisses. I mean, come on. What happened to laugh? There, Robbie Rice in commenting, I believe, to Steven, but like, maybe we should have a poo bath. And she's like, no. Poo is toxic. I'm like, yeah, we don't want to. The poo is like back for the grass, for sure. Waste management. That's right. Management. No, be present. We can still love our waste. It's difference between loving our waste and like responsibly disposing of it because we love everything versus denying that we have it and then hiding it away so that it festers and becomes toxic. You hear what I'm saying? I'm like, we need to like lift the lid on all that toxic chemical waste and sort it out rather than pretending like it doesn't exist. Like, rather than pretending our consumption patterns aren't destroying the planet. I'm like, guys, I'm pretty sure all this material stuff isn't getting us anywhere. So we should probably stop, take a breather, recoup, and decide what to do from there. Yes, Jedi J, it's the true shit right here, my friend. Jedi J, I feel a deep resonance with you. I quote Yoda quite a lot in my book called The Fearless Life Guide. And and it really is because I truly believe us all to be Jedi Masters who forgot. um, and or we have come from many different parts of this galaxy and universe to have this human experience in a unified feel of creation. It's super buttes. It's just fucking weird as anything. Like waking up, awakening to these different veils or like spiritual awareness. God, I don't even know what any of it means anymore, other than I'm like, I'm still alive. So I'm just gonna keep sharing some stuff and living my life and just see what happens, right? Because I'm like, now that I realize just how very limited my own singular mind is, just let it go. Let go of the concept that I know anything at all and just be present with the existence of life itself. And then let life guide me. And I swear it's a delirious, joyful state of being. And people probably look at you like you're totally berserk. But at the same time, in a true fashion, life unfolds in the most miraculous of ways. And it continues to do so beyond what I could ever imagine. So that the ticket is that just keep letting go. Let the mind be washed clean. Because the mind being washed clean is just the mind full of heart. Emotion. And then that's where we become the regenesis state, where we become the receivers of our creative output, which is that vibration of love, versus the other of like shame, guilt, fear, oppression, undeservingness, unworthiness, lowliness, baseness. We're just greedy. We're just greedy, lowly humans. We're just, when you observe human condition and versus we're all gods and goddesses who were pretending to be not that, and now we're remembering. We're like, oh my god, hooray. And this is us just remembering. You guys, by the way, earlier this whole share was just talking about shits and pisses, but I gotta say, I find that awesome because I'm so proud of us as like an epic. And I don't even want to use the word spiritual anymore. Like, just be a human. And be a decent one at that. Like, especially because a lot of us resonate on a level of like being kind of like twisted up by like so-called spiritual people or people who like proclaim themselves to be mega spiritual, and then suddenly you catch them out behaving in really shameful ways and then they deny it and you're like, what? What? And then you're like, oh my god, other people don't care, or other people lie, and you're like, oh yeah, I get it, I remember lying, it's not fun. And that, but then there again, no judgment, because like every single one of us is on our own divine unique path at our own placements. And like, yeah, I randomly got like an insert of like, imagine stars competing with each other. Like, imagine our little sun like competing like with Sirius A or something. Imagine, just try it. Just try to imagine a planet being petty and competitive. No, 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 because really, it's like And then I'm thinking, planet. A planet is just a being, like being. Oh, did some one of you wrote that actually? Like B. I'm sure somebody, maybe it was fifth. Somebody just I just looked down at one point and saw B. Like planets are just beings that are being. And like that's kind of I would say our lesson, our learning is like, can we just be? Like, is it safe for me just to be? I just can't get over sometimes how radical it is. And how increasingly, like, with the world and, like, the veil and just being able to observe humans and being like, "How is it that we're the radical crazy ones? How is it that this is the channel where all the so-called cray cray hang out?" But to me, I'm like, "No, no, this is like this is literally like this is how humans should move, man. Like, come on, we need this is exactly like like we are the light. We are the way, you know? We are." And hence, like, the we are is the I am presence. Oh, gonna cry. Hey, Revel. No, the Revel for show. No. Ooh, yummy. Ate mad mushrooms. Exciting. I was talking to my friend about all the different ways you can have cannabis, and uh, I was rather inspired actually by one of you, and had a really interesting spliffage which got me more stoned. It was the first time since I was like 21 that I got quite stoned to the point of being inarticulate. Can you imagine that? Imagine MJ being inarticulate. Yeah, I could barely string a fucking sentence together, and I was like, dude, I'm having this stress so long. And then the next day we were like, yeah, that's not that fun actually. Like sometimes, like you all know this. It's the same with something like booze, drinking. It's like there's like a nice, maybe like tipsy vibe-ish, and then there's like blackout drunk hangover. That's not fun. Not repeatedly, certainly. And it's the same with cannabis, apparently. Like there's like a nice, like cheerful, feel good, I guess, playfulness about cannabis, but then there's also just like feet and like yeah, just sleep and like gobbledygook words about words. Clearly, I'm still working off the effects of this weekend. Mm. And then back to the mushrooms. Well, we were talking about one with the cannabis. It's like tea, and then I was sharing with him about my mushroom experience and how tea mushroom or mushroom tea rather, and then yeah, and then you can eat the actual stuff at the bottom. Balance is key. I completely agree. 100% and flow, like, well, and here's to me keeping on balance is staying on flow with yourself, which means like experiences rise and fall. Pardon me. Yeah, and I had this experience of like the mushroom tea was very atmospheric, quite light, as in how you're ingesting and experiencing the medicine. And then similarly with cannabis, like cannabis tea has this sort of atmospheric, like stoned feeling versus like smoking it or I don't know how else you would have it. I guess like all the creams and the different pastes and stuff. Yeah, they just have a different experience where because I do still smoke it. I'm more and because I'm now um bridging the gap, you could say, to let go of the smoking and move into more creative ways of having all this stuff basically. Um yeah, oil and paste and yeah, just all these different things, and they all have a slightly different resonance to them. They all have a different, well, they because they do, they're different. And you know, there's a like basically just making a really potent oil basically is really nice. Tea, I feel like freeze dried is much better than tea. Mushrooms, you mean? Freeze dried mushrooms? I don't know, I've never had, but I feel like way back when in Canada, when I like in my early, because like I told you guys, like I only did mushrooms probably like a very small handful of times as a youth, like in my high school, and then like never did them because they kind of freaked me out. And I didn't get them back then, and this is like before my awakenings. And then I actually never went into psychedelics until ayahuasca came into my world in 2017. Like, it was on my radar before that, but it finally dropped in, and then I did the ayahuasca, which I think was a really important turning point for me in as far as embracing my totality, versus seeking, like, some perfect way of being, i.e. teetotal, or all water and raw fruit is all you should eat to be the most spiritual person. Do you know what I mean? Where you were still kind of thinking that there was socially acceptable, or not even socially acceptable, but that you were still conflicted because you thought there was an external representation of how you should be in your truth. If that makes sense? Does that make sense? It kind of does to me. Like you're aligning with that, but then more experiences help to break that down as well, where you're like, that's not even fucking real. I.e., like, uh oh, existential crises. Because then I get to these points where I'm like, but then what is real? Like, what is real? What is actually embedded in truth other than light? For rizzles, when you break everything right down to the infinite abyss of nothingness and void, what else is there? Everything. Infinite. Just ever flowing, infinite, light filled creation, information unfolding. It just never ends. It just never ends, and it just never ends, right? But what is it in is this kind of closed bit of knowledge that we can all hook into? It's not there. And I think that is a big part of the paradox with this 3D construct, is that we're all programmed to be like chasing some dream. Like, and then once I get there, then I'll be this. And then once I get there, then I'm going to be this. And then once I get there, I'm going to be this. And I think many of us are like happy go lucky. When we get to the first point, it's not quite that. And you're like, oh, it's okay. But then you're like, okay, keep going. And then you're like, ah, it's really not that. And then you're like, ah. And then I think you have these points where you're like, wow, okay, I'm doing what everyone's telling, but life is shit. So maybe I should try doing something different. And then for a lot of us, it's just like renegade masters who have who have completely broken free from any sense of normalcy, and apathy, which is good. And we have just decided to be who we are. I just didn't realize that as I continue to get to who I am, I would trigger more people, and in this very almost bittersweet sense, get to know more about the human condition. Da, 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 da. And I guess for me, what I find upsetting, or just continuing to hold love, unconditional love, MJ, unconditional love, non-judgment. It's just the state of affairs when it comes to the lying and like the denial of how important our feelings are. And I'm not saying that you are your feelings. I'm saying that our feelings are a guidance system to our truth. And we still live in a very, very dominant, mentally dominant society. We talk so much. In our, or certainly we're talking increasingly about mental health and awareness. Like, let's talk about mental health. Okay, let's talk about people's emotions then, because you can't talk about one without the other. People don't want to talk about the underlying guilt vibrashe. They don't want to talk about their underlying, like, yeah. And that is always the big fucking elephant in the room. We want to talk about all of our little fucking problems, but not talk about the bigger overarching issues, which I believe anyway are actually causing the problems. Just keep everybody fat, stupid, and disconnected, and then you can run the show. And I just think that is just not good enough. Especially, I really genuinely feel like when your heart is here in service to humanity, you just can't abide by that. You're like, that is shit talk for everybody. So, like, no. Hence exhibiting like non-control energy. Hence, like, getting as clear and I don't want to say isolated in a negative way, but certainly my continuation in this withdrawal has certainly been part of my service oriented path. Is that the more clear I become, the more authentic I become, the more you could say the more pure the codes of exchange are. Whereas if I'm gobbledygook with a whole bunch of other people's words and language and insights about any given thing, then you're not getting like the pure truth from my essence, which wouldn't offer you the same benefit essentially. Which is part of the increasing awareness is like, oh my gosh. So I was buying a car yesterday, and I had to take but it was in a different city, so I had to take a different or what am I saying? I had to take public transport. I haven't been on public transport for a while that I took notice of anyway. And I fucking hopefully secretly, I was sort of like, looking off in the corner, but like hardcore having release come up, like crying and like, because I was getting these most intense, energetic, like, um, this is so weird, but it was like now, so each cycle, each wave, each healing that we go through now, what we're going to notice as we go back into the collective is that your intuitive capacity is like super switched on. And what's increasingly aware for me is like we can't deny what we know. Like it's not like judgment. There's an absolute freaking difference, and most people that are still in judgment would sidestep it. But there is an absolute difference between observation, like this is a book. That's an observation. That's a book, right? I'm there, but this is not exactly, but you'll get what I mean. Versus like that book is ugly. I don't know. I don't know. That's not a great example, but essentially what I'm getting to is that on the train, because I haven't been in a kind of mass collection of people for a bit, and in a train, I don't know if you know that kind of sense of you're quite meditative when you're on public transport because you don't have to worry about anything, so you can just be calm and kind of centered. But I kept getting waves of emotion, and then I was like looking around, and I got another huge impact wave where I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it was like I could feel pretty much each person's story, the nature of work they did, the connections to the people around them, how they felt about themselves, what they were looking for. Like literally so much information just by one fucking glance, and it hit me when she would have been an immigrant. She would have been possibly even like a woman from the Philippines or Thailand who married a man over here. She was very well dressed, and I just got this exact one hit, and then and it was like my energy field scanned the entire train, and it just like hit me as far as like we're now energetically holding space for larger and larger and larger pockets of the demographic. So those of you in cities, those of you in apartment blocks, those of you wherever, like your energy field alone is shifting. And I know it doesn't look like that, but we do want to be aware of that because there's power in that. To not let ourselves be taken under or affected by those energies, but just hold space. So for me to let myself feel on the train and then be a bubble of light and radiate that light throughout the train because nothing I say about my fellow brothers and sisters that I talk about, I'm not here to fix people. There's nothing wrong with these people that I talk about. But as I say that, what I'm claiming for my own purpose is that there's nothing wrong with me either. There's nothing wrong with any of you. And so if I just in this world want to accept and love everybody, and I want to extend a vibration of we all belong here and we all get to be here, then that feels really good for me. And I'll just stay with that. And because of that feeling, if there are people who are maybe singling certain cultures out, or behaving in a way that doesn't align with that, then that warrants us standing up toward and saying, no, that's not fair. You don't treat people like that. You don't steal behind people's back. It's all that kind of covert, cunning stuff that again in our world, but we're seeing it all break apart is our classist system is becoming increasingly imbalanced because it's generational. So generational class comes from a root of divide and conquer and oppression. So we can't ultimately uproot all of the underlying issues without addressing. And I think this is so what's interesting is that we want to defend against, right? And people, um I guess I'm like, I don't even want to fucking go there in my mind. I don't even want to go there, It's just like what's done is done. Anyway, let's get back to you guys and your comments because I love you. Megan, Jedi, it's difficult for cities in the cities for starseeds for shizzles. There's a few of you who have reached out as well, and I'm getting this. So with the continuing energy upgrade, more and more of the starseed like worker community are going to be guided to leave the cities. I'm not talking like tomorrow. I'm saying like over the next few years, more and more of the awakening demographic is going to be exiting the cities and the metropolises. Okay. So Megan Pelletier is asking, what do you mean exactly by holding space? That's a great question, Megan. I really appreciate that question. So holding space is an energy feeling of presence. It means that I'm just present, which essentially means that I'm vibrating unconditional love and acceptance. Like I can just be here and I can just listen. But there's a difference between presence and like dialoguing, because sometimes with a dialogue or a communication, it's like I'm coming up with like advice. I'm coming up with ways of like trying to fix it or noodle or da 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 da. Whereas holding space is something we do in particular when other is having an emotional reaction. So for anyone in a healing modality, for example, like myself, when I teach yoga, often is the case that people cry at the end of a yoga. So instead of going up to them and going, "Oh my god, are you okay? Here's some tissue. Here. Oh my god, why are you so sad? What happened?" Blah, blah. No, no, no. I don't have to say anything. I just hold the space. So they can cry, and I'll hold the space for as long as they need. And they can share, and they can snot everywhere, and they can scream. And often if it becomes that, I usually will have my Palo Santo. I'll normally have crystal. This is when I'm on retreat, obviously. Like I'll have tools at my disposal so that if we need to assist the other in shifting energy, we can. But otherwise, holding space is usually enough for that being, that vessel, to move the energy through them, because you're holding space. You allow them to process their density with love and compassion, because that's the reflection that you give to them. And this is very, very, very fucking pertinent in our healing community, especially in the spiritual energy worlds. when it comes when it comes to covert narcissism and subtle emotional abuse, is and people who want to claim healer status, but they're not practiced enough. And and so this is I'm referring to an incident that did happen to me where a so-called friend was wanting to take me back to a situation that I fled from, and I mean fled. So and then a month later they're like, "But you need to go back and you need to da 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 da." And I went in on her like I have never seen myself before. And I was fucking raging. Don't you dare tell me that I am responsible for this person, like this kind of fire. And I was screaming at her. How, and I knew this is part of the polarities. Like I was actually present with myself, screaming, knowing that I was acting out part of her unconscious, unprocessed anger and part of her fear, but she wasn't aware of that because she was still acting out. She was still in her pain body, playing out the good little girl from the person that I was running away from. And her being the good little girl was doing his bidding, trying to get me to go back. And I was having none of it. And her claiming some status of healer, like her, this is because this is what she was doing to me. You're not healed. You need to go back and heal the wound. And she was frightened. So she was reacting against her projection of me being like, get away from me! I don't want to go back! You can't make me! And I kept hanging up the phone. And then she'd be like, you need to address this. You need to. And I was like, I can't fucking address this. You're not holding space. You're trying to get me to go back. And you're acting out like this poor little sad girl. And I don't want to fucking freak out at you. I don't want to be doing this. So I kept hanging up. And then I finally said, I think we should take separation. And then months have passed where I realized that her and I have a completely different perception of what's going on. But at the end of the day, where I'm at in my life is that I'm not fucking responsible for people. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And for me, I've outworked my codependent relationship with her. I can see what was happening. And in love and light, I can actually see why we had to separate and why we had to go our own ways. But if somebody is saying they're holding space for you and they're all reactive, that's not holding space. That's somebody who's in their pain body, arrogantly trying to fucking get you to do something for them because they've got some other invisible shit going on. And if you're like, and that was when I started to realize that we as the empath, absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, we act out people's projection. And if you're becoming more and more clear in the knowingness of the being that you are, then it will become more and more obvious the people that are projecting their unconsciousness onto you. Shit, judgment, shame, anger. Anger is a big one. If you're around somebody regularly and they're perpetually getting you fucking then that, my friends, is usually to do with the fact that that person has not processed and dealt with their own anger, which means they're just still in denial, which means they're still just manipulating, controlling unconsciously, and that's fine. It is absolutely fine. Oh, Jedi J, yes, my friend. So like that is just like pure heart love vibration because I'm like, that is exactly like most of us just have this inner knowingness of like, yeah, the master plan, the divine plan. That's like where all of us have been able to make all these crazy leaps where people have been like, "Wah," and like you're like, I'm sorry, intuition's guiding. I don't know what the fuck, but there's some divine plan. And like more and more people being like, there is a divine plan. Holy shit, how do you know? I'm like, I don't know, I just know. Like, thank God. Gee whiz. Otherwise, you're just like, ooh. I'm looking Gigi. Oh yeah, Gigi. Gigi for truth. I don't know why, but Gigi for truth. I can't not. I was saying this on fifth, like Gigi, Gigi. I love it. Maybe if I ever have a child, if I have a girl, I will call her Gigi. Gigi. I just fucking love it. Hey, Divine Sight. How are you? I I love how Divine Sight appears. Divine Sight. Ah. Hey, Chewbacca Sasquatch. Just Next level is us just being on a beach for sure. Fifths, SSSS, I burn them during our meditation, the Sampalo and stuff. I don't know, maybe, but I'm like, here's my thing, Elliot, is like, I'm not it's yes, it can fucking feel like that, absolutely, but, like, I just isn't it almost everyone? No, please, God, no! Like, cause weirdly, mostly in my world, I'm like, "No, everyone's more like us, they just haven't broken free yet." Mostly everyone's all weird, they're just ashamed of their inner weirdness, and we've just, like, popped off. We're just Cosmos is like, "You guys go first!" We're like, "Ah!" And then we had the what's the word? Maybe grit, stamina, endurance, awareness, whatever. All right, fine. I'll fucking volunteer for that shit, but you better make it fucking worth it. I'm like, all right, fine, trust. Trust. If you survive past your 33rd year, you're good to fucking go. And you're like, really? You're like, sort of. You're like, ah! And then eventually, now that I'm 37, I'm like, maybe everything's sort of getting calm again. I am the creator. And I'm officially really a creator and not a consumer. Like, I'm for sure officially on the other side of that consumption because it's like creation. Because I'm perpetual in that mode of like, what's next? What can I create next? Who am I collaborating with? What constellations coming together for creation? Like, what kind of stuff can I just noodle with and like expose and express and become? That's the thing. It's like becoming the Regenesis state, becoming that Regenesis elixir state. It's a thing about all this manifestation stuff where I'm like, you gotta live it. If you want to be the legit real deal, you gotta live it. Otherwise, you're lying to your brothers and sisters and using your privilege to power over people. And then here's the thing about this bullshit social media game that we're all playing. Um what was it? Oh yeah, you could use inspirational quotes and spiritual quotes, all that. You can use all of that to justify anything that you're going through. Do you guys know what I mean about that? So here's the thing about the empath as well. I can feel when somebody's posting something that would, at first glance, appear terribly wise. Like, oh yes, forgiveness is so wise, aren't you a genius? But my spidey senses are picking up something really rather different. Spidey senses are picking up like, ooh, you're hurt and you're pushing against. You're using the quote to justify something rather than actually looking at what you've created. I.e., you're going to use a quote to just put the blame on the other person or to justify your rightness and their wrongness, or, right? Now, we all do it for sure do it. I just have to constantly go over and review things to check myself. And in fairness, at this point, like, once your own transformational cycle actually takes everything away, again, right down to the wire, every time I've changed these cycles, everything. And like, and ultimately the few things and people I'm like, yay! And like some things I get to take with. But yeah, when you're in earnest going through this stuff, just my experience, everything gets taken away. That is a really humbling experience as an adult in this world. So if that's happened to you, kudos. Good for you. Well done. You've been bold enough to and courageous enough and real enough to know that you're more than everything around you, and that when it all gets taken away, that is an opportunity to start your life again, i.e. rebirth, i.e. resurrection. So and that is our truth in the walking of, I want to say, the Lord, in walking the truth of your way. I'm getting something from Megan. Yeah, me too. Loving the feelings more after understanding them, right? Right? It's like a juicy flow. Quite wild, but like juicy. And again, I'm at that point where I'm like, all right, fine, I'm a wild woman, whatever that means. Although, like, when I'm lying in bed in Shavasana throughout the day, most people would be like, yeah, you're really wild. Go to bed at 9 o'clock, like, wild child. I'm like, I am. It's just inside. And the hair, like, and I think, ugh, you guys are the you guys are the most high. And I mean that in like the purest type of vibrashe, like Christhood vibe. It's like you guys are the most high badass lovers in the world. It's 2 in the morning, so it's not like I'm stoned or anything, but still I have mega hot love for you. Yeah, yeah, people find that some clients that I start working with, more so the Brits, because they tend to be a little bit more in shame and reserved around their emotion. But I've had clients where it takes them 3 to 6 months just to have like a release, and or we might start to tap a release, but they like, and then what we're addressing at that point is just the fact that there, can you feel it? Like this is breaking it down for people in the emotional body. Like it can sometimes take right away. Sometimes when the deeper stuff starts to come up though, it weird, but like it requires a few rounds for people to get more comfortable really really feeling and not defaulting back into their whatever that is, whatever that's the thing that I could never do ultimately intuitively, was just shut down. And a long standing client would say that, like, she's like, I can feel it. I can feel when I stop it. And I was like, okay, well, that's the feeling you're gonna have to work with to let the emotion come through. And now I can say it's been 2 years, and probably this year, in these last 6 months, that's where she's had the most breakthrough. Let's be honest, how deep and intense has this last 6 month portal been for most of us? So no shit, I'm seeing shape shiftings, and then all my clients are seeing the shape shifting as well. Because that's, I would say that's the truth of new paradigm like coaching. It's not about like, I don't know, I don't telling people how to live their lives or something. It's literally more about holding space, holding visions, and letting intuition do the work. Because ultimately, for someone like me, you recognize that those of us on the path, the only thing is like we're at different stages and we're guided to one another to support one another in different ways. So people show up in my world to book sessions. That's supporting my business and my lifestyle and da 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 da. Whereas that, and then the reflection back is that my perception is what helps to assist them in breaking through walls, in seeing different angles of themselves. But do not be fooled. There's always a reflection. So when I'm working with somebody, I'm acutely aware that these people are also reflecting back aspects of self that I'm working through or working on. But that's part of the co-creative exchange. And it just so happens that people, when they're coming for that business exchange, that is what is absolutely necessary at that time. And for somebody who's never really had capital, or had any sense of sort of things given to her, handed to her, it's really race to just be navigating this truly authentically and organically. And in A Course in Miracles, I saw A Course in Miracles in between 2013 and 2015, I think is when I would have completed it. A pretty hefty text and workbook, and teacher's manual. But in A Course in Miracles, and this is very, very relevant to this day and age, but the essence really of the teaching of Course in Miracles is that you don't like go looking for students. I.e., it's my only job or my only practice as a teacher of God is to see all in the light of the divine, just like the Namaste, to see everyone in that divine eye, which technically means I see everyone in a divine state. Which means, why would anyone need fixing? Why would anyone need coaching? They don't. Everyone's perfect. Everybody already knows their way. But to in order to continue to flow this divinity energy into the world, which we're all very aware of, we have to survive economically. So I'm not under any illusion that there is a sense of incoming flow of financial abundance to keep going out, right? It's just that I've wanted to discover how to work that flow from a place of harmony within myself, which meant that I'm a woman who had to find her purpose before she could allow herself to receive the type of life she actually believed herself to deserve. And that's what's starting to come in. That's the reflection back of it does work, all of this deep energy stuff. It is truth in manifestation. But we've been so programmed to think our thoughts know. We've been so programmed to think a certain way that we don't realize how quickly we disconnect and then deny and then forget all about manifestation in that regard. Yeah. Oh man, there was like another layer to it as well, like the creative elixir expression. So like that flow. Think about how like the earth, everything in this Milky Way galaxy, like everything is moving. Everything is flowing, always moving. So I think of us as beings in our healthy regenesis state that we're moving, that we're flowing, that we're always expressing and ingesting and expressing instead of thinking that we're all meant to just live on this certain base tone frequency. Oh yeah, and another insight. Well, ultimately, I guess one thing I want to say is that being the creator in that true essence of creative elixir is our ultimate optimal way of being. Ultimate optimal way of being. Those of us in alignment with the source God that we are, and then we express that alignment source point, and then we manifest a life in alignment with that divine grace. And then we become the teachers just via example, i.e., Course in Miracles. You don't go looking around because that would mean that you're actually vibrating lack. You're actually vibrating unhealthiness, undivine. It's like you're vibrating everybody's sick and disgusting, so they need my divine help, right? No, everyone's divine already, i.e., no, there's no fucked up crazy economy. Oh, da, da, da. Now, okay, yeah, I'm not delusional. There's still a gap to close, but we are on that. We are actually moving. We are actually moving in that direction, right? Programs are thick to chip through, though. Is there a wild card to that? Uh, I'm hearing one another. That we are one another's like wild cards as far as listening like well, I guess this is part of it. Now that we're all congregating in such a way in resonance, so the resonance biofeedback in co-creation is what is helping us to bottom out and then cut out the bass tones. The bass tones are just fear and guilt, pretty much. Because or sorry, not fear and guilt, shame and guilt. So shame and guilt are like some of the lowest of the low bass tone creative energies, which are through our awareness of them, rising the energy to our heart, we're learning to forgive. As we learn to forgive via the heart field, we absolve ourselves of shame and guilt. And then what is beautiful is that we begin to absolve ourselves of the punishment game. Thus, once humans realize that we're not here to be punished because we're no longer shameful and guilty, then we can really start to pick up speed in this rising of our energy from base tone to heart field, which then harmonizes the bioresonance field in a real way, in a functional way, because it's coded in the blueprint. And then we just start to see this shift happening exponentially. It's contained already in our field. That's part of why so many of you have this sense of like, ah, but how do I feel so responsible for most of the world? And like, who the fuck am I? Like, why do I resonate with all this weird spiritual stuff? It's because you know it already in your beingness. We've created so much that you already know the various timelines of your creative potential and which one we're taking. Um, we just forgot how powerful we are. And then not only that, but the controller system would have it shamed That's why it's kind of convoluted and a little bit like a maze, you could say, that we're all navigating. Well, because really, that's kind of like what navigating consciousness is, or navigating darkness is. It's like you in the infinite void, just with a little flashlight on your head, be like, is it there? Whoa! And then like finding these little realms where you're like, hey, look, there's activity and people down there. Whoa! Let's hang out together. Yeah, unconditional forgiveness. Well, this is part for me in the book, is like once we get to that level of forgiveness, I would say we're getting kind of close to actually living there, if that makes sense to you guys, like living in that state of unforgiveness, hence non-judgment, hence becoming the whitewashed transparent energy field, i.e. presence point for people, which is why pretty much more and more of us, you may experience this, like people just come into your reality and then it's like they bounce out and then go through all these changes, or people come into your reality and you get all twisted up and then you realize that you're being controlled and manipulated. um yeah, agree, nice. Bye bye control systems. I know, like, how freaking powerful and beautiful is that? Literally, our forgiveness of self is dissolving control systems of domination, which serve nobody really. So other than the controllers who are like parasitic dark energy, that are little entity attachments that are ultimately our own disowned, disempowered energy, which we're kind of like, go away, go away. All of our ugly little shames and stuff that people don't want to own up to. Those are the like, that's the dark, that's the control right there. So the more we stop feeding people's pain body, narcissistic pain body as empaths, and we go be free, they have nothing to feed off of anymore. So they either upgrade to heart and heal, go through the atonement like all of us, or they don't, or they just stay where they are, which is again to each their own. I'm not here to judge. People are free and sovereign. People can do whatever the f they want. I guess the flip of that for the empath is that means that I get to do what I want. This is happening now, you guys. This is happening now. This is what's happening now. Fucking hell. What is happening? Cut those cords, pretty much. That's exactly what that is. It's like, imagine yourself flying. I was having this vision during a meditation, legit. I was actually on a chair, but felt more like a bit of a throne, but it was a cloud throne. Okay, so I'm on it. So I'm like sitting on a throne, and but I'm like I'm sat there, but it's clouds that I'm sitting on, and the clouds are just like floating me up, and I'm like, yay! And the clouds are just floating me up into like, well, wherever they're taking me, but somewhere good for sure because it's my choice. I don't want to be on this like lovely like heaven cloud to just take me to the dagger hell. I'm like, ah! No, no, no. We're going into the love. We're going into the hot love vibrashe, especially because we're still in this like transition. So it's like any meditation vision that I see that like is carrying me somewhere, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. We're good. We're good to go. All the seeds were planted in those stories. It's true. It's true. Dark Crystal. That's another one of those is it Jim Henson or whatever? Dark Crystal Labyrinth. Uh which is, oh, they're great stories, aren't they? I think yes, they have like the truth, the nuggets of gold in there, right? No, no, no. I'm like, it's so funny because like I sometimes there's a delay, so I'm never exactly sure what is laughable. Oh, there's something about this top. I just like get really hot. Our child selves hold on to them. Hence why, yeah, a lot of us are having that resurge of like backing the timeline, but then it's all something. There is this happening in the now. This is part of karma completion, karmic cycles. We've been talking about this for quite a few months now, that these patterns and cycles are like 26,000, 13,000, 6.5 to, and like there's like so many cycles. And now they're all the dots are being connected, and we're like, okay, cool, learn those lessons, time to wrap it up, tidy little ball, and then off we go. So I get the sense of like one, just closing off energies, closing off cycles, saying our making our peace, saying our goodbyes, blah 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 blah. And then it's more about, and this is the energy that I'm like, I guess, not noodling, but like living with on a day to day, is just feeling more like baby like, in as far as, imagine how a baby learns to walk. That is what I look like walking. No, it's not. Not quite. But I know I'm like walking like a normal human, but in my body, it feels like I'm floating. Like in my body, it feels like I'm walking on the moon, just being like, "Whoom. Da, 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 da." And yeah, it feels yeah, it just feels really light. Like I'm relearning how to be in this world, and like actually being at ease in my body and not micromanaging anything, and just like flowing, and like anything that feels restricted, just kind of letting that fall off. And it's good stuff, really. As in, yeah, I feel really happy and free. Imagine. And I'm not trying to sell anything to make you happy and free either. Oh, except you can, yeah, that's a lie. I am. I'm not trying to lie to you guys or manipulate across the vibrashe. Um, but I do, and it is interwoven, and I do endeavor that total transparency when it comes to economic value and stuff. Here's the legit truth though, you guys, like the majority of light worker true new paradigm people, we're just not greedy. Like it's just the way it is. People I work with, even extraordinarily wealthy people I do work with, they're just they're the extraordinarily sort of, yeah, very generous, very very kind of people. And yeah, that is all. Jedi J. Wait. Wait for it. Hey, there is a pound coin. I found a pound coin. Is it this one? Is it this one? Which, by the way, should be the world motto for all humans. Where are you born? On this incarnation, I was born on the planet Earth. What race are you? Well, I'm a human being, like all other human beings walk on 2 feet. We live here on this planet. We take care of this place. We take care of it together. We take care of it. And then what's our politic? Well, believe that everyone should be abundant and free and looked after. That's all. That's the only politic that we're concerned about, is that we all have access to this thing right here. It's called freedom. It means you're allowed to say and be and do whatever you want. Except for if your being and doing is infringing on other people's being and doing. Then you got to keep yourself in check. And then religion. Oh, pure heart love. I'm pretty sure our teachers of the past, like Jesus and Buddha, were also pretty much saying the same shit. Like, could you just try to love one another? You don't all have to have sex with each other. You don't all have to like the same things. Just have common respect and decency for one another. It's like, except apparently that's really difficult because people hate themselves because we've been programmed or whatever. Who cares whether we've been programmed? I I didn't realize I was being programmed. All I know is that I am still working through all of this inner, like, I still have to show up for myself every day and be like, I love you. I love you. I love you. Because the default program of self-loathing, of self-hatred, of self-judgment, I still catch it. I still catch it. Me looking. The mind is clever. It will go out of its way to embed those old neural pathways. My mind, but the perspective will go out of its way to prove that it's right, that I am actually disgusting, and that I actually deserve anything. That you're just a big fat failure. You're never going to be free, and you're. That's the old program, and it is powerful. But I still show up, and this part of why I do this every day. I'm like, every fucking day. Just like I meditate every day, every day. Why? Because there's too much fucking other energy out there that like I just want to like burn through that shit with the light of my awareness and with absolute unconditional love for the best for all, for the good of all, for like everyone to rise and shine, for everybody to have access to education and food and water. Come on. Like I'm sure that we can do it. Oh guys, by the way, abundance and love. I found a I found a pound coin. You know how you normally find pennies? I found a whole pound on the street corner yesterday, or just not a corner specifically. It was just like on a sidewalk. And then this is the other one. I totally missed all of your comments basically, but one of you guys were like, "Oh, I love that blue striped shirt." And I'm like, "You mean this one? Or this one?" This one's like a new one that I got, well, new used. Oh boy. Um and it's like a crop top. It's festival season, my friends. It's festival season. And she's getting her festival clothes out, including like these trousers. These are also quite festival, aren't they? Aren't they, you guys? Just hanging out in my bedroom at 2 in the morning. Because MJ doesn't really sleep like a normal human. She just has a very peculiar life. No, although thank God, again, I'm finding other humans who understand what I'm talking about because I'm like, it makes a real big difference. Boo, y'all! So I'm really excited. I've got a festival to attend in like 3 weeks, and then I'm driving. I am driving to Portugal, and I have a new car. I got a new car, you guys. Are you proud of me? Um, one day, if and plus maybe one of you might actually remind me. One day in the near future, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about what my life has been like these past 6 months. And not even just these past 6 months. At some point I'm going to go over in more specific detail my circumstances in these last 3.5 years. Especially because I'm aware of this sweet glory of people's projections and judgments of like what people I sense and feel were projecting on to me, which was so far from the truth that I could cry. And yet, for someone like me as an Aries, energy like that, I'm aware has actually catapulted me forward on my mission. As in, people gossiping or saying shit that's so far away from like who I truly am, just to like tear me down to make them feel better. Like, because I'm aware of that now, I'm just like, okay, fine, judge me, you know, tear me down, talk shit about me. But one day, I will share the truth in as far as the miracles that I have witnessed in my life, which is why I live the way I live, which is why I share what I share, and why I permission and encourage other people to do the same. Be bold, be courageous, be in love with who you are, and don't take no shit from nobody. you know, you know, because there is love here. It's all love. You're love. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just doesn't know that. They don't realize that they're love. And they're scared of your love because love makes us feel a bunch of crazy shit, which makes us want to die. No. But it's true. Like all this self-love stuff is so powerful and paradoxical because the 3D matrix makes us think that love is like pink hearts and Valentine's Day chocolate, and man liking me is love. That is love. Except it's not. It's like love is this powerful, like, this powerful divine creative force which allows everything to be there. It's just like pure, transparent, unconditional. It's freedom. You know, love is grace, love is patience, love is kind, love is open, love is infinite, love is eternal. It just never ends. So how on earth we entangled love to be these limited qualities like money or or sex or, to compartmentalize and squeeze love into these little human conditions is just not love. It's not love, that's human conditions. Hi, Seely Jane. How are you? Ooh, are we gonna do tarot? Let's do tarot. Thank you for the reminder. Tree hugger. Why, yes, yes, I am a butterfly goddess. Thank you. I've never had that one before. For years, I resonated with the elf. Like I feel quite elfin in my more like the superhero nature, if you know what I mean. Wait for it. Did you guys see that? How I went off one way and then I wanted to like spaz you out and come through the other. Anyway, let's pick a card for the community here. I've thought about, oh my god. I'm like, I'll start doing tarot. I'm like, oh, except for part of my manifestation vibrashe was that I'm like, I really don't buy into like the work paradigm. So I really believe that like most of us in truth probably wouldn't have to work more than like a few hours a day, right? A couple hours a day. So I really stick to that. And then I was like trying to time it out. I'm like, wow, if I did all 12 zodiac signs, that would be potentially another like, I don't know, 12 hours or 6 hours or something like that, like a considerable chunk of time. Like, I'm piling up my workload over here. I just don't know if I. Plus, I'm like aware of service, and I'm like, what if I start and then don't keep it up, and then people are like, "You're not in service," and like, and Jane, I, I'm just talking shit because you guys are here and in love. Look, 2 cards just fell out of it. Wow. Okay, my juicy lovers. We have a 9 of Cups. That is some love. That is some love sublime. That is one happy looking cookie. Look, that's a little bit like how I feel right now. Look at me. Life is doing good. I have internet friends and everything. I think because like sometimes in my 3D reality, people are really confused and they like wonder. Also, I realize like in small towns, people just talk shit and like they don't know anything. Like hearing word of mouth from somebody about what I'm doing here and being like, no, like what? And then realizing like these small town folk, they just talk amongst themselves, pretending like they know me, and they're completely inaccurate about. And like people saying that I haven't been here, I'm like, yeah, I've been here. Just just don't socialize. I socialize on the internet. People are like, They're like, I have an online business. I have coaching clients online. Sorry, you make money online? I'm like, yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. So, I just got it, you guys. I just started to get annoyed with my own voice. So, clearly this is a reversal. So here's the energies. It could not be more clear for us today, my friends, that we have an 8. We have an 8 of Cups. Now, again, you guys know I'm just starting to learn, and either regardless of me learning from an actual textbook, which I have there, I'm an intuitive, so I do very deeply get the tarot. I feel it, I res with it, and I understand how it works. So so this is just pure intuition. Okay, you guys take what reses, leave the rest. We have our 8 of Cups, and this is a little bit bittersweet. I've been using that word a lot over these last couple years because bittersweetness is sort of the energy I have around letting go. It's even like, thanks, Seely. It's even like mourning losses, like grieving loss. So like there's so many layers and veils. So on an energetic collective level, a lot of us are purging, healing, and mourning mourning the death, you could say, of the old world or the destruction, releasing and transforming control patterns and barriers around our heart. So we're really this is a really kind of sad card. Everything that you've built up, everything that you've been working towards, you're just going to leave it there and walk away because it's no good for you anymore. You know, look at even the moon there is kind of like sad, and it's there. It's like saying it's okay. Like, I know that you're feeling this way now, but you can move along and walk to a better day. I'm gonna sit here, and then um and then I have this. Don't So are you guys not really into it? Anyway, I'm just gonna continue, and we'll share what needs to be shared. Been seeing eights loads. Okay, cool. So there's another eight for us, or is that a five? No, that's definitely an eight because there's number eights. Um, okay, so the two of these together, I suppose you could say, bittersweet makes me. Like, honestly, we all could just hang out by just drinking coffee and like smoking bowls. Like, that would be really fun for days on end. Okay, so this might resonate with some of us here. So now, regardless of how much we feel we've built up, this could be relating to a relationship, our careers, our lifestyles, our exactly like the things that we're doing. And actually, as I'm saying this, I'm like, yeah, this definitely relates to some shit I got going on. So it's like, who cares? This isn't working. Or I've run out of material. Like, I'm not gonna be able to finish this fucking pyramid. It's done. There's no more cups. It's all dried up. No, there's nobody else around to help you keep building this. So it's time to walk away. And turn your back on it. When I say let it go, drop it. Don't put it on the ground with a string attached to it. You know, don't let it go, but secretly like or attaching your ankle to one of these cups, you know? And I think a lot of us can position ourselves energetically to do this. Really, 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 really let go. It's always energy anyway. Once you make a decision in your mind, we're there. Okay, and then pardon me, you guys. I need to. My God, I've had my heater on in my room this whole time, and I'm starting to just fire myself up. Okay, so here, and this is so representative of the aspect of letting go, is that we all know that once we, hey Alf, hey, welcome back, yay. We all know that in letting go of things, new things come in mourning the death, or in grieving the loss of an old life, we then open our heart to a new life, right? So here's the new life. This worked out good. So those of us who feel like, oh my God, I've been toiling so hard, I've been doing all this stuff, and now I've run out of materials, or I've run out of money, or run out of, or so and so is not working anymore. We're not building anything together. Then you walk away, and you're like, oh well, I have no idea what's gonna happen. And then you're like, blah blah blah. This is satisfaction. I'm also getting a very strong independent vibrashe from this card. As in, this person really does deserve to be happy and fulfilled, and they know it because they worked gosh darn hard to accumulate all these cups, and they're like, see what one can achieve. And the blue in the background to me is a very happy, healthy, and harmonious being. So this is really good. This is this is fantastic reading for us today, actually. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've got yoga. It's currently 3:22, y'all. I woke up at like 1:30 today. I went to bed at 8:30 last night, in fairness, because I drove all day yesterday. And then I told you about how I took public transport, and I was back in like a collective human field, and it was just so crazy insightful. Oh, you guys, so feel free to book sessions if you want to have FaceTime, and go deeper into stuff that you're working on. Retreats. So Morocco in October is starting to get booked out. If you guys want to come, feel free to reach out. It's only 599, and that pretty much includes everything except for your flights. So what a few people have done is just paid me like around 150 pounds, which takes a chunk of like the bigger fee off, and then you have a few months to get the tickets sorted, pardon me, and like get everything else sorted as well. So, ooh, tree hugger, an afternoon at the wedding. How lovely. Weddings are usually joyful occasions. There can be a lot of residue at weddings as well, though. I'm not gonna lie. Oh baby, yeah. So Alf, I would say that's new paradigm legit. So keep in mind to share that wealth you have gathered. Um, I would say, if anything, that is part of this community. That's why it's so exciting to like finally make friends who resonate on a heart level. Is that I don't unless I got a whole bunch of you really, really radically wrong. Like none of us have ever been about like hoarding wealth or like having lots. And so this shifting of the paradigm is the fact that the people that are now going to be coming into greater wealth are like legit, true, compassionate leaders. As in people who don't really care to have stuff and certainly are not in a place where they want stuff to power over other. So the only creative sense of power is my love. So my love wants to share everything with everybody. Like for me, that was the only reason I thought I wanted to be a famous actress, not to like be in movies or like be famous. It was so that I could make lots of money and give it away to all the poor people. Because I was like, well, what's the point of having stuff? As in, I didn't see any joy in living in a mansion whilst the majority of the world starve. I have no desire for that, right? And I think sometimes people think I'm lying or that I'm taking the piss or it's not true. I'm like, that's the only reason. That's the only thing that's kept me alive is my belief that the world can change, in my belief that we can, from the heart space, love again. Just love. It's just love, you know. Bonjour Lars, how are you? I had a student exchange. So ich war in Deutschland für 3 Monaten, wenn ich war 17 Jahre alt in Bensheim. And uh, in Germany, meine host familia, Lars was the host, my host brother. I don't know why I'm saying that to you guys, but there you go. Elf, facts right there with you on that one. Yeah. Like I would say most of us in community would never, hence this compassionate of like really all that is to give. Because if we think about infinite abundance, don't we just want to receive the infinite abundance that we are? But to me, infinite abundance doesn't equate loads and loads of cash. Infinite abundance is a state of being that is infinitely generous. So people that have lots of money but are fucking tight, you're like, you're in lack, brother, sister. I don't care how big your house is. You're a tight little biatch. And so, on a karmic level, you understand manifestation, and it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about that because you guys get it too good. Ah, yeah, I know. I was in Germany for 3 months, so I can sometimes get into this. And ja, aber ich habe, I forget it. I forget it. Je peux parler en français beaucoup plus. See, it's all the grammar is crapola. But my français, my accents, they're pretty good, but not as good as some people that I've met. Some people I've met are like insanely awesome, and one of the accents that I'm still desiring to perfect is South African. So, and one of you I know here, we have a really lovely South African friend here. So, I reckon I will get to hang out with some South Africans. And then I'll get to get good with the South African accent. Because God love Australia, I just don't have a resonant connection with it. Nor do I have that much resonant connection with even New Zealand. But South Africa, I feel, is potent. Love hard vibrashe. Ooh, sweet CC. I've kissed a South African. When I first moved to London, way back in my backpacker, newly awakened divine soul, traveling the world. Um, yeah, when I started traveling and I was in London, all of my fucking drug dealers were South Africans. I'm not, and I say that with obviously like frivolity and love. These were really fun guys, and it wasn't shady in that regard. We were just young people, and we, them, so they drive around their little scooters, and they usually grab a few little different bags of treats when they come to your house. And I have to say, for any of you people listening, I'm so thankful to not be in that world anymore. As in, I'm so thankful that I'm not, buying drugs every weekend to escape my reality, because it sucks so bad. I mean, I'm just happier, but from other people's judgment, I guess you could say my life is no fucking different. I just make money talking to people now instead of being ridiculed by people who don't understand what I'm saying. Oh my God. Oh, love to that, sister. I love Elf. Guys, Universal Love Rainbows on Instagram is very much worth following. Elf on Insta, sharing wisdom. I hope I don't single you out. I hope I don't make you feel bad, Elf. I don't mean to single Elf herself out. We're friends on Instagram, and I really appreciate seeing your updates, seeing your shares, seeing your a lot of the specific astro messages of different times. Some people just have stuff that's relevant in the right time. And when we're in alignment, we're just in alignment, and it feels good. Yeah, sweet CC. That is exactly what we're moving toward, my beauty. You're 100% on flow in the divinity of grace, because the truth is, we all know we don't need any of that. And I truly feel this, like, and thank God, because now I'm finally realizing that I'm not running this unconscious Walt Disney program of like seeking a man to validate my experience or to validate my worth. I know I'm almost 40, but I'm finally realizing, I'm like, holy shit, that's a fucked up construct. So now that that's not running, I'm like, even romance and like all of that is getting a whole new rewrite. And I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but I know it's going to feel better, and there's going to have roots and longevity in all of the relationships I cultivate from here on out, including you guys. That's why I show up every day. Doesn't matter if you're on the internet or in real life. Resonance trumps all. Alignment trumps all. Vibrashe trumps all. And do not be deceived or whatever. Like, if you're lying, you will get sniffed out. That's just the way the world is going. Our whole entire system is being reborn, you guys. That's the law, banking, education, workforce, every element and tier and aspect of this constructed reality that we've all bought into and collectively agreed to. It's all going to get washed away over the next few years. We think everything is happening on some extended timeline. It's not. Everything is happening now. The world that we're co-creating together is in our heart now, as we burn through the sheaths of control within the energy bodies. The energy body is all that we are in the emotional field. Connecting the intellect is what rises us up. Understanding that you're a vessel of creation in the unity self, in the here now, because there is no future and past in essence. That's also a constructed fear program. Because when we go forward and past, we forget our multidimensionality. When we're in the here and now, we can encapsulate the totality of our being, which is also the galactic self, the universal self, and the co-creative void, hence the divine feminine. And that's the divine which we've been taught to deny. We're taught to deny the divine. Um, we're taught to deny the truth, the void, i.e., shame the shadow rather than owning it and embracing it. To pretend like let's pretend like there isn't this infinite space and all these mysterious questions, right? Deny, deny, deny. So 40, not years old. Exactly. Thank you for the correction, Megan, because we are ageless in that regard. So there is no time distance. And yet, for sure, 40 years in the realm, not old, as in young and old. There's just the one, isn't there? Internal oneness. I just see there's like that little like inner child of like, come here and get a big fat kiss from us. I'm like, "Rah, rah, rah." This is a nice thing about snuggles and or something on my mind here. I guess this is the thing about like retreats is like by the end, usually all to love retreats or like most retreats I think are like this, but by the end of the retreats, like everyone is just like in a big like snuggly lump. Everyone's in a big snuggly lump, like braiding each other's hair and like massaging our faces and taking photographs because we've just tapped this unconditioned goo love from the hot love vibrashe. Again, this is the beauty of this kind of community. It's sober. We're on retreat. It's all vegan food and water and peanuts on the beach. It's like it's pretty pure and healthy, and all that love juice just comes out via fun and vulnerability. People being honest and transparent. Who knew? Oh my God, who knew it could be so revolutionary? And then people break down and then they remember how to have fun and they play and they go splash about in the water. And then, they keep that going. And then at the end of 5 days, you're just like all snuggled in a bed being like, oh my God, I never forgot how much I love myself. And you're like, yeah, I know. Isn't love great? And then off you go back into the 3D reality to try to share your love with, not try, just be the love that you are, and then other people will look at you like an alien and be like, shh, no, I just, but maybe. Yeah, pretty much, Alf, you know it. You get the retreat vibes as well. I sense you're another holder of spacer. um and a gentle guide like all of us. So yeah, you basically know already. It's just people remembering they're good too, and you're like, I love you, and you're like, oh yeah, I love myself too. Yeah. You're like, I know it's challenging because even as I say all of this hard love bush, I can still feel and sense in my truth beingness areas in my being and body where I'm still having to close the gap, where I'm still in judgment, or I'm still trying, if that makes sense. Subtle, but it's there. Spa loving. I know. Okay, you guys, so I'm hitting up around that. Do you know that yesterday or 2 days ago, guys, we did like a 3-hour share? Can you guys believe it? And then, one of you actually messaged me privately being like, 3 hours? Oh my God! Congratulations! Like, what a share? What do you mean, tree hugger? Where being loved triggers? Oh, right, 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 right. Well, sorry, what I'm getting from that is like where being loved triggers is like our love triggers the unloved bits in other. And then to be aware of that so we don't go overboard and compensate for the work that they have to figure out to do for themselves. Hey, Rochelle, how are you? I drink it by the pint. What, love? Love juice? Calm down. I'd like that explained sort of, but not. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm with you on where it's coming from. I'm not sure. Mm. I feel the bear, definitely, Rochelle. Oh, girl, Gigi knows me very well. I am a big Running Man fan. I don't know if you guys ever did the Running Man. Yeah. So guess what? If you ever book onto an ultra retreat, the only prerequisite is that you can do the Running Man. Um, so we're gonna do the Running Man. And we're gonna close it out, you guys. We're gonna close it out. We're closing it out. MJ's getting ready for the day. MJ's got to teach yoga class in 4 hours. And then I have a couple sessions, a couple online sessions with glorious people like you. So, you guys, I'm outie. We learn to love others and unconditionally loved, teaching us by triggering, but with no need for healing. I'm still wrapping my head with that one. Oh, okay. So, so tree hugger, I'm getting a real sense. I'm like, that's where you are, isn't it? So you're just holding the unconditional love space, and you can feel the biofeedback of how it triggers and what it might trigger, but that there's already the pure loved state, like the healed state as the canvas kind of thing. And that's now what you're moving into as far as an experiential state, that flow. Mm. It just feels really anchored, like in the earth, healed, present. It can be fun, Jedi. I think that's a huge, huge, huge piece for me. If I say I would be here in service to all, like there's a lot of people I feel wouldn't like unless we make all this stuff fun and whatnot, people won't be turned on to it. It is fun, but it's just deep too. I have more fun now, but it's because of the depths that I go to on the regular. But what I can accurately say is that in no way is my life normal or mediocre or stagnant or apathetic or complacent, m- half dead. No, that is not my life. My life is exquisite and full and um yeah, abundant and real and gritty and raw and all of it, you know? Mm. Oh my geez, tree hugger, sweet CC, I see, I see. But then tree hugger, see, that's sort of making me think about the something I don't like to talk about. I'm not really into it, but it's like something around the union. Is that there's more divine unions coming in as well, which of course is the unity within our own heart. There's still a symbolic unity of humanity though as well. Awesome, 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 awesome. Tree, so get that. Okay, I really, really appreciate that, you guys. Oh, and also, so I'm getting like another insight where I'm like, some of you guys have a very profound earth wisdom. And so the relationship you're having with the mother, like with earth, it's like holding space for holding ceremony for the children of earth. You're the roots and the trees watching over the children, right? That sort of thing. And the energy embodiment of all the elements. coming into unity and divine resonance. It's like literally unfolding the children of earth in the upliftment. It's only ever in our imagination, isn't it? With unity, but more beyond that level of consciousness and comprehension. So is, yeah. Because the truth is that there is no separation ever, and there never has been. There is only unity. That is the truth. It's like the container. It's like the bubble container beyond the whole, containing all of the individuated aspects of creation. Yes, the elements are your children. Okay, thank you. I'm feeling emotion come up. Yeah, that's it, sweet CC. Yes. Spirit has heard the cries of the children. That's it, pretty much. That's why we're here, right? Okay. I was gonna say earth. She said switch to water. That makes sense to me, Rochelle. I don't know how or why, but it does. All of us is. All of us is. I am. That's the one. Little gods and goddesses. Yeah, individuated aspects of the source of all. Oh, poof. Thanks, you guys. I just had some really I feel like you guys just held space and we didn't even have to talk a lot, but whatever just came through in these last little shares, I just felt this incredibly grounding energy. So I'm so thankful because I drove a lot yesterday. Whenever I drive or whenever I go in a larger kind of collective, dominant collective frequency, I feel it in my nervous system basically. And I can get quite whitewashed. I can get quite like spaced. And so whatever has come through in this share, I'm feeling very in my body and very grounded now. So thank you all so much. Like I'm sure we're getting healing from each other, like no doubt. As we exchange codes, it's like we're always getting uplifted into the most divine version of ourselves, right? Right, sweet CC, straight legit talk. Many of us experienced it to ground it in. So that is like the practice I feel intuitively, like I share in the Fearless Life Guide. I talk about it over and over, like a cyclical thing of like inspiration, ground it down into the beingness and expand it out. Ground it down, expand it out. And which came first, it doesn't matter. Just keep expanding it and keep grounding it. So I really get that as well. That the more we're vibrating in the clarity of our own soul, the more we are that clarity and love's expression, and then we bring it into the world, right? True, true, true. Okie dokie, you guys. Have an awesome day. Moochos hot love vibrashe. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Lots of love.